So, jetzt sind wir da in unserem ersten Couchsurfing-Haus, und zwar beim Edward Hecker. Er hat uns geschrieben und nicht mir ihn, weil wir haben einen Open Request gestellt. Und jetzt sind wir mal gespannt, was uns da erwartet. Wir wissen es selber nicht. Also, let's go.
Hello, you
Hi.
found it?
Yes, good.
Welcome to my house. I'm in.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Come on in. Make yourself at home.
Thank you.
Yeah, why you host Couchsurfers?
Okay. I host Couchsurfers because it's fun, because I'm retired. I've been doing it for 2 years, and I haven't had a bad experience with the Couchsurfer yet. In Couchsurfing, people don't have any expectations. So you can't disappoint people. You give them a roof, you give them a mattress, you've done everything you need to do as a host in Couchsurfing. So there are some good places to stay in Couchsurfing, and there's some not so good places to stay, and you never know what you're going to get until you get there. But I enjoy the people who come through Couchsurfing. They come from all over the world and around the country, and all kinds of professions. They're usually younger, university types, but they're always interesting.
Why are you retired?
I've owned a couple of businesses, and they did well, and I sold them. And now I play with money and my ancestor, and anything else I can do. I'm thinking about starting another business, but right now businesses are aggravating to run, so I'm enjoying myself too much.
What is the fascination about the Route 66?
I could go into the history of it. Like I told you, I don't know who is marketing Route 66 in Europe, but most Americans don't care about Route 66 as much as some of the Europeans who come through my house as couchsurfers seem to care about it. There's somebody who's selling like a tour of Route 66 over in Europe. Route 66 is there, but it's chopped up now, and a lot of the sites that were there in the old days aren't there anymore. Historically, Route 66 is the first east-west highway in the United States. It's the mother road, the road that tied America together for the first time. It's like the first railroad. And it was developed in a time when America was much more entrepreneurial, so a lot of interesting tourist stops developed along the road. And it contributed quite a bit to American culture of the time, in the early 1900s. During the Great Depression, a lot of Okies went to California using Route 66. It's just tied in with a lot of early 1900 American history. And of course, America developed into the interstate system and the car culture we have today. So, Route 66 was a big part of that. It's a foundation of that culture. It was a forerunner.
Your name is Edward Hecker, and that sounds quite European. So, what is your background?
Ethnically? Ethnically, I'm about 75% German. My family's been here for 5 generations, but this area where my family's lived for the last 5 generations is very German. Otherwise, I consider myself to be as native and American as any Indian. I was born and raised here. This is home. If anybody asks, I'm an American. But I am of German descent, pretty much.
And you figured out that there is somebody really important in your family.
Yeah, if you grow up in my family, it's hard to avoid who I call the glorious ancestor, Friedrich Hecker. Friedrich Hecker is a revolutionary from the 1848 period in German history in Europe, when Republican revolutions and insurgencies were happening all across the continent. And my ancestor, Friedrich, was the Baden-Württemberg end of that whole wave of revolutions. So he lost his little battle, and my family came here. And that's how you met me, serendipitously.
Tell me more about the German flag.
Well, the democratic movement in Germany in 1848, the Republican movement, was an insurgency. It was a rebellion of sorts against the aristocracy that ruled a very fragmented Germany at the time. And they wanted to unify Germany under a democratic system, and as part of that they developed a flag, the tricolor. Now I don't know the meaning behind the colors too much, but before that movement came along, that flag wasn't used for much of anything. And then the movement and my ancestor used the German tricolor. And again, my ancestor lost his battle. It was the Battle of Kandern, I think in April of 1848. And he fought a general, a Hessian, who was in the employ of the, I think it was the Duke of Baden-Württemberg at the time. Leopold, I believe his name was, something like that. Anyway, he lost the Battle of Kandern, and that was the end of the revolution in Germany. And the flag, to my knowledge, was not used again until the founding of the German Republic at the end of World War II in 1945.
Yes.
So,
why did you go to the Navy?
because I was bored, and they wanted me, and they offered me free travel. Pretty much it. It was an adventure.
It was an adventure, so kind of your great-great-grandfather.
Yeah, not as extreme. He was a little more of an idealist than I was, and I didn't pretend to be a military genius when I wasn't. You know, like he did. He tried to lead people into fighting government troops. I don't want to do that.
But you wanted to serve your country.
I did. I wanted to serve my country. And I could get into what Friedrich stood for and what the United States is about, but it's that sort of thing is really open to interpretation, especially after 150 years. His vision of democracy is probably a lot different than what it's turned out to be after 150 years, so you work with what you've got. It's a good country. The Navy's not a bad place to go when you want to kill some time and see the world. We have an Abraham Lincoln letter because my ancestor, when he was kicked out of Germany, was given some land in southern Illinois, right outside of St. Louis. Again, it's a big German area. And at that time, in the 1840s, a young politician was coming up in the Illinois state government named Abe Lincoln. And so it was just a matter of two people being in the same place doing the same kind of business at the same time. They pretty much, my ancestor was a leader of the Germans in the area, and Abraham Lincoln was, in 1857, the time that letter was written, the governor of the state. And my ancestor and he were part of the same new party called the Republican Party. And so it was just a political business. Is pretty much was the extent of their relationship. Now, it might be noted that my ancestor, Friedrich Hecker, in addition to being a revolutionary in Germany, was a colonel in the Union Army during the American Civil War, which is another chapter. There's a book here written by Sabina Freitag, who I consider to be the foremost authority on the guy, called Two Lives for Liberty, and that's what the title means. He was a leader for democracy in Germany when it wasn't cool, when Germany was run by aristocrats. And then he was also a leader in the military, not a very good one, but a leader in the military during the American Civil War, when he was in his 40s, late 40s and early 50s. An old guy, so I don't know why I did it, but he was an idealist, and he felt very strongly about his political views and democracy and freedom and all the rest of it, so he fought 2 wars. And so that's the story behind the letter. There are a few other letters, but they're all archived now. That's a letter no one knows about, pretty much, unless they come here.
Is there a museum about your great-great-grandfather here in St. Louis?
Not in St. Louis, but we do have his papers in our archives at the University of Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that was in the family trunk that was handed down, we gave to the university to take better care of.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of his old farm papers and his Civil War correspondence with people like Ulysses Grant and General Sherman and all the famous people in the Civil War, the American Civil War. So, anybody who wants to research that part of Friedrich's life probably needs to come over here to find the original papers.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, Germany's got a lot of it, but most of it's still up at the University of Missouri archive.
Did you ever meet a political important person, like a president or a Angela Merkel or somebody?
No, I haven't. And it's not a real burning desire of mine, but it'd be nice. I've met the mayor of Mannheim. So that's something. We had lunch. It was good food. Interesting conversation. Lots of cameras in my face, lots of microphones. So that was unusual. Like I said, nobody really knows Friedrich over here, so I don't get that treatment over here. I'm just a normal person over here. I go over there, things happen. So it's fun. But it's a little bit tiring after a couple weeks.
Wenn die Leute fragen,